Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Drew, and I want to welcome you back to Learn How to See Better. It's the only podcast out there that'll improve your vision the longer you listen. And today, I want to challenge us to level up our ability to see by the questions that we ask. Yeah, think about that for a second. Quality Questions About Life is the title of this podcast episode. And for the purposes of this episode, what I invite us to do is to look at what we can learn, not by asking others questions, but by asking ourselves questions. Questions specifically that prompt us to think, that prompt us to wonder. Questions that are open-ended, not the closed-ended ones, meaning the questions we can quickly and easily answer with a half thought out yes or no. I mean the questions that we have to ask ourselves that if we can imagine being asked, we might be stumped. We might have to scratch our heads. We might have to ask them to, pause the camera if we're interviewing and rolling the tape. So in the arena of questions about our lives, the questions that we ask about our lives, if prompted properly, can cause us to really dig deep and think about who we are, what we're made of, what we believe in, what we should and shouldn't do, how we should and shouldn't react. Many of the questions that we can ask ourselves will provide insight. And those answers to certain questions will automatically answer other questions. Let's think about this for a second. If I were to ask you the question, what drives you? You might quickly have an answer, or you might pause, but take a moment to think, what drives you? If you're actually sitting alone, you might phrase the question differently and say, what drives me? Think about that. You can't answer yes or no to it, but you do need to think about it. Understanding what motivates you, what interests you, what drives you, what prompts you to get out of bed is pretty important when you're looking to see what in the world is out there that will help you become the best version of you that's possible. So what drives you? That's one question we can ponder on. Some might tend to think that they don't feel driven. And the question isn't, do you feel driven right now? The question is, what drives you? What keeps you motivated to move forward? Sometimes if you're in a part of your life where you may feel that you're not as driven, or maybe you don't feel driven at all, can I challenge you to think back to a time in life where you maybe were driven at all or more than you are now? What would you have said then? What drove you? You see, sometimes we can attach our energy and our drive to our age in life or our stage in life. Either is okay, I suppose, but the fact of the matter is, whether it's a different age or a different stage, you've still got drive. You still have the ability to be driven, but it's really a function and a form of what we allow into our worlds. Sometimes we can turn off things like dreams because we feel that someone has taken the opportunity away from us to rise and shine at our highest level. But in all reality, in most cases, no one's taken anything away from you. If that's you, chances are you've given the power away by allowing the thought that someone can take your power from you to take over your mind. So simple things like that, asking those deeper questions, because if we find that we resist the question or our answer does not directly answer the question, There's probably a reason for that. It may be as simple as we're not sure and we're looking for the next best answer. Or it may be that we're looking to answer the question too quickly without adequate thought. But when we take just a handful of questions and lay them out, we may be surprised in the different things that we find. Another powerful question one might choose to ask themselves is, who am I? Who am I? Who, not what. Who am I? How do we typically define or describe ourselves when we say, who am I? Oftentimes it's natural to gravitate towards an occupation. If we're a youth, we're a student. If we're an adult, we're some sort of professional that falls into some sort of category or genre of profession. And we allow that to be the who. Or the who might be grouped or categorized another way. But the who we are isn't really any one of those single things. It's all of those things. It's a unique blend of everything. Who am I? Who are you? I find that these questions are better answered with more so descriptors of character and persona, things that can connect us as people rather than things or labels or occupations or titles that can change instantly or change with time or after a certain age of retirement. But who we are really propagates. And for us to understand who we are and look to find ways to know ourselves better is important. Who am I? What drives me? These are important questions. Who am I? What drives me? Who are you? What drives you? Give thoughts to these questions and look for insights, because you know what? I've heard that personality isn't permanent. As a matter of fact, that's a book I plan to pick up and read pretty soon. And from what I understand, the premise is pretty much like the title suggests. But think about that. Personality isn't permanent. We can change. Who are you? What drives you? These things can change. They're malleable, which means we are in control of who we are and what drives us. So that means we can drive ourselves right to our destination of happiness if we've got the right answers to the right questions. What do I want? There's another quality question about life. What do I want? The answer changes when you're 10, to when you're 20, to when you're 30, to when you're 40. More than likely for most people, what I want at those age stages are different. But there's some things that we want that are a little bit more long lasting and extend beyond the age or the stage. Maybe we want peace. Maybe we want joy. Maybe we want love. Things that can be enjoyed over the course of a lifetime and don't whittle away with the season. But knowing what we want in life and the experiences that we seek can be important. A lot of that helps to give insight into what drives you and to who you are. So knowing what you want is another important question to ask, and be okay with the answer. Ask it honestly. Have a seat in front of a mirror and ask yourself that question. Stare straight in your own eyes. What do I want? Sounds pretty simple, but it might be less easy than you think. What do I want? What do you want? Who do I love? Who do you love? Love is a very powerful force in our worlds and in our lives. Understanding love, respecting love, investing in love can make a huge difference in the quality of life. Learning love and understanding who you love and asking that question, who do I love? You can reverse that question, who loves me? The answers to these questions can play a pretty pivotal role into how some aspects of our life turns out. And giving thought to those is important for your own well-being, just for that reminder, especially on a down day, right? Who do I love? Who loves me? Who do you love? Who loves you? These are just a handful of the types of questions that are quality questions about life that we can ask ourselves. We can use these questions in a time of joy to give cause for additional praise and gratitude as we look at the answers to those questions. Conversely, on maybe a not so great day, answers to those questions can help lift your spirits a little, reminding yourself what drives you, reminding yourself who you are, who you love, who loves you, and what you want. Taking time to ask some of these questions can regain clarity. In a fast-paced world, sometimes we're not so sure, or we can second guess, or we can get caught in the motions of doing things the way we've always done them. And we might find that we're living life the way we don't like to live, or living a way that we don't love, or not loving when we should be. Learning love, giving love, receiving love. These are all some of the joys of this existence. So we've got to ask ourselves a few quality questions about our life from time to time, just to keep us grounded, just to help us remember. The more I learn in this experience, I find that people need to be reminded more than they need to be instructed. And so this episode here is simply one of those reminder episodes that reminds you to ask yourself quality questions about life, such that you can set yourself up to have an enhanced, improved experience in life, making the most of it, enjoying it as best you can. Having a little bit of clarity can bring peace to a situation. So remembering to ask quality questions about life might be the big difference maker in making a not so great day a better day, or to making a good day a great day. So until next time, I want to thank you for listening to this episode of Learn How to See Better. It's the only podcast out there that'll improve your vision the longer you listen. This is your host, Drew Davis, and I'll catch you on the next episode. Thanks for listening.